How do angel and private equity investors perceive the clean tech, green tech industry? How do they manage their investments? And which opportunities do they care about?
I think clean tech domestically is pretty broad.
By broad, he means wind, nuclear, smart grid, solar, energy efficiency.
Where I think there's the greatest amount of opportunity within clean tech is really energy specific. There are opportunities that are created both from incentives at the federal level and at times at the local, whether it's state and municipal level as well, which have been very effective. They're challenging to learn, but they're very effective in incentivizing the development of renewable energy, wind, biomass, and for me more particularly in solar. And I think it's at the very beginning.
For clean tech. The outlook for clean tech in Europe is currently a challenged one. And the reason for that is that there's an overhang of capital still available to be invested in this area and a limited number of opportunities. The vast number of opportunities in the past have been driven by high capital intensity and by government subsidies. In the last few years, we've seen budgets being challenged in Europe and the subsidies being cut, which has ruined a few investment opportunities, has actually risen the capital requirements for a few. We expect that environment to change and to improve over the next 2 or 3 years.
Next, let's hear about returns and risk profiles.
$50.8 million fund, of which we're pretty much fully invested at this point, and companies in that portfolio that would be notable that you may have heard of: SolarCity, BrightSource Energy, the solar thermal power plants. We as a firm do not like to invest where there's fundamental technology risk. So we're okay with things being pre-revenue. We're okay with things, not being fully baked, but the fundamental technology risk should be out of there before we'll invest. So what does that mean? Typically, it's sort of like a Series B or Series C. We'll almost always invest as part of a syndicate because that helps spread the risk.
Our risk appetite is typical for this kind of investing, meaning we have a limited number of investments. So we have, I think it's currently 11 investments. We have no tolerance to losing these investments. There should be no risk of losing our capital. That also means we don't aim to have a 10x or 20x return, but rather a 5x, 3x return, a steady
Since we're
return.
in a niche sector, this allows us to focus and do targeted investments. 75% of our investments are initiated by us rather than the entrepreneur. And we have a very clear exit strategy on day one, which is to exit in 5 to 7 years. And the companies we look for are companies that can grow at 15 to 20% EBITDA margin.
How can an entrepreneur hedge risk?
The ability to address risk, whether it's construction risk, execution risk, commodity risk, performance risk, all of these are items that you look to mitigate through different strategies, whether that be through EPC wraps, insurance projects, technology guarantees, commodity hedges.
Where does growth capital deal flow come from?
Our network, because we've been around this space since 1996, so people know Enertech as one of the predominant firms focused on energy technology. So we don't have any shortage of deals. We've already seen 2,000 deals this year, and we don't invest in all 2,000. Obviously, we have done 8 deals total in the new fund, which gives you a sense of how many rocks we overturn before we actually make the investment.
How would they be able to get in front of you for consideration?
Well, it's usually our website. If someone's coming in cold and doesn't, they just know of Enertech. Often we get a number of business plans that come in there, or investment bankers that know us. There's a pretty wide array of ways to get in the door. It's just whether are they really things that we're going to look at, right?
I generally find that it's really hard for founders to stand out by coming through in a cold message.
Right.
Because there's going to be a lot of salesy stuff. And my immediate question is, why didn't you find someone to introduce us?
What can you expect from growth capital investors?
For example, Ecologic last year was looking for a new factory location to to bring their manufacturing from outsourced all under one roof. And they were looking for a site, and the company doesn't have a lot of money, right? And they have no clue where to go. But we have relationships with the Economic Development Agency.
We're always active. We won't invest in a company where we're not an active investor. That's just not what we're being paid to do either. We're in there to put our stamp on the company and try and build it.
Why invest in clean tech?
Fun to stay at the what? I didn't think you'd be here for the interview so soon.
I'm so sorry. We just have a few hours before our project's due, and I just have one or two questions. So I understand you're a clean tech angel investor. You've made a few investments.
That is correct. And actually, clean tech is probably my favorite thing to invest in. I've invested in an LED light company and 2 highly alternative car companies. And when I invest in a clean tech, as well as an asteroid mining company, I'll come to that as another quarter. And when I invest in clean tech, I'm not only looking at the financial picture, at whether there's money to be made and how much, but I'm also kind of giving it a second chance if I see it as something that maybe could really change the world, could really make things better. And so those kinds of companies are given a second shot, sort of, by me. I wish I hadn't said that exactly, but whatever.
Okay. Well, just any advice for entrepreneurs looking to get a meeting with you?
I'm pretty easy to find, and I generally eventually get around to my email.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Ray, for your time. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.